Let's hear from a few more people via Discord. You can find our Discord at davidpakman.com/Discord. Let's go to, I don't know if it's Ali or Ali in Seattle, Washington. Welcome to the program. What's on your mind today?
Hi, David. So I wanted to talk about the legal immigration crisis that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the ones that people are crossing the border.
Okay.
I'm talking educated, degree-holding people not getting enough jobs. So I work in IT, and everybody around me, what I'm seeing right now, major companies like Amazon, Facebook, Google, people who graduated from US, from top universities, these companies offer them jobs, but then they say, oh, you can go work in Ireland, Singapore, Canada, and your team is going to be like all over the place. So most people I work with, their teams are in, like their managers are in US, but these companies legally hire people from US educated people that they cannot sponsor visas and send them to other countries. Same thing happening with my doctor friends. So a lot of he works in hospital, their psychiatrists are in Europe. They don't have enough people to hire from US. And I've since I've lived in New York and Seattle and mostly like these urban areas, I'm seeing this more and more that these like educated degree holding people do not have ways to immigrate to US and they're leaving. And in contrast, I go to Canada, it's completely opposite. Enough people there everywhere for everything for now. So in US, since George W. Bush's time, people or politicians have made immigration like a security issue. I remember before 9/11, the immigration was supposed to be a different department than Department of Homeland Security. So when that merged, it made an immigration into this security apparatus where you just hire people to protect border. Nobody talks about immigration as immigration anymore. What's your view on that?
I'm trying to understand exactly the point you're making. The point you're making is, if I understand correctly, there are shortages in the US in certain fields, and we could be filling these shortages with qualified degree holding immigrants from other countries. But
Yeah,
because legal immigration to the US is so limited, people are unable to be brought in to do certain jobs. And as a result, there's not enough doctors or engineers or whatever. Am I understanding that correctly?
yeah, and I just add the final point in that when Biden gave this subsidy to Foxconn for that chip program, the
Yeah.
biggest complaint Foxconn had was U.S. does not have enough talent for them to operate a factory. The Foxconn CEO said it in an interview, if you remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember the chip issue. I don't remember that interview, or I didn't see it. So, I mean,
Yeah,
listen, a lot of the things you're saying intuitively seem sensible, but I would need to verify every single aspect of what you're saying. In some of the fields you're mentioning, my belief was, and my dad is a doctor who came to the US from another country. He essentially had to like redo his residency and his boards. It wasn't like you can just, hey, we have a doctor shortage, bring in a bunch of doctors and then they're doctors right away, that it takes quite a long time. And I mean, we have to look at licensing and different industries and whatever. To the extent that that's going on, I am in favor of. I mean, when Republicans say we want legal immigration and Democrats say we want legal immigration, you would think that on this issue they would be able to work together to get the U.S. the workforce it needs. Now, the counterpoint that many Americans will make is, well, when you bring in doctors or engineers from another country, they're taking away the jobs of Americans. You're making the argument that there quite literally are not the people in the United States to hire for those jobs. I just need to research more to find out if that's even the case. It's hard for me to comment without really digging into every element of what you're saying.
let me just add one more thing to it to end
Yeah.
this point is that you're absolutely right. People with the Republicans or Democrats should be able to come together for this particular point. And I've seen some of the, people from a little bit right talking about it. I think Kevin O'Leary had a whole shorts about it. But what I want to add to finally to this was that just look at because the only way these people can come into US and legally is H-1B. And everybody knows how disastrous that is. The last time
Why is that
H-1B,
disastrous?
because 800,000 companies want 800,000 was last year's the number. In 800,000s, that companies wanted people to come in, and the quota was 85,000.
Mm,
It hasn't been revised since Reagan's time. Reagan was the last president that had a quota set.
got it. So
So,
your argument
yeah,
is not that H-1B is bad. Like H-1B does
it's not
allow
updated.
filling the
Yeah.
gaps of labor. It's
Yep.
just not
Yep.
allowing in nearly enough people.
It hasn't been updated in
Right.
20 years.
Right. Which, by the way, Vivek
More than that.
Ramaswamy says he wants to get rid of H-1B visas altogether, which is a whole
Oh,
other story.
you should go to like these smaller cities and see the shortage yourself. I'm not
Right.
talking big metropolitans. I'm
Yeah.
talking. So my friend was getting paid 3 times in South Dakota just because there's not enough doctors there.
Right. Right. Yeah, I have a friend who got an offer to go to like the middle of nowhere, Iowa, making like 2 or 3 times what he was making in New York. That's interesting. All right, Ali, thank you. I'm going to research this much more, but I appreciate you bringing it up.
Thank you.
All right, there goes Ali from Seattle, and it is quite a situation there. That is for sure. Why don't we go next to Tom from New Jersey? Tom from New Jersey, welcome to the program. What's on your mind today?
Hey, David, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, great. I was just wondering why the right wing has so many Jordan B. Peterson, Andrew Tate, men guru types, and the left doesn't really have that kind of thing.
Yeah, this is something systemic to the left. If you do a general, like an internet search for why doesn't the left have as many of the male gurus or whatever, much of what you will find written about, it actually misses the mark. And it's about there are fewer leftists who want to be the male gurus. I believe the reason that you don't see as many of them on the left is because the leftists are less interested in having such male gurus. You know how you sometimes hear from Trump and others, nobody's driving around with Trump flags. The boaters aren't doing with Biden flags. Nobody's doing Biden boat parades. How could he possibly have any support? You know how sometimes they will say this on the right?
Right.
And we say there's a reason for that. It's not because people don't support Biden. It's because we decide I'm going to vote for Biden over Trump. I don't need tchotchkes. I don't need gear. I don't need flags or bumper stickers. We don't see these individuals as sort of semi-deities of sorts. And so I believe that it is because of the dynamics of the left being less interested in these people who hold all the answers. I mean, much of what is implicit with these gurus is what Trump said himself. I alone can fix it. I'm the only person who knows how to deal with this stuff. And to follow the gurus in the way that some people follow people like Jordan Peterson, you have to kind of suspend the obvious reality that no one person is an expert on everything or right on the time and whatever. So I think the left just isn't as interested in those figures.
Makes sense. I have one other question. I was just wondering, I've been seeing a lot on Twitter, even under your replies, a lot of left-wing people lashing out at people that are pro-Israel, and I know that you covered that yesterday. I just don't understand why.
You don't understand why left-wingers are lashing out at people that they see as being pro-Israel?
Correct.
Oh, it's been a sort of almost litmus test to some degree among a portion of the left for decades, where unless even when there's a Hamas terrorist attack, you still have to find some way to say Israel's ultimately responsible. Unless you do that, you fail the litmus test for some parts of the left. Not all of it, but for some parts. That's been around for decades.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering my questions.
All right, Tom from New Jersey, great to hear from you. And sadly, that will do it for calls today. I never get to everybody. I want to talk to more people, but I'm just out of time for today. So we will take calls again. We're going to take the quickest of quick breaks right now and then continue on the Friday show right after this.